All right, let's do this. It is Thursday, 10:58 p.m., February 5th, unedited, unscripted, and it shows, but it's the simplest and quickest way to get this done. So, S&P was down for the sixth day of seven. We have basically kind of filled yellow gap today. Yeah, that's about filled. And that leaves red gap, which goes down to 67.21. The low was 67.20 in December. That might be done tomorrow. Um, or it'll be done next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week. I will note, we have a settlement under the 50-day. You see, they kept trying to spike it the last few days. And even though we had a little bit of a spike today, we do have a decisive close under the 50-day. It's not good. We're going down. The market appears decisively short-term broken. I will say though, just looking at some of the microcycles briefly, we are on the low side. So it's not a good position to be short. The risk is that we have a bounce early Friday. If we can clear the 10 of May, right, we could easily go up to say, I haven't even marked it on the chart, but we have a gap from yesterday's close, which was around 68.80, right? So we could, that's 80 points up. I mean, we could be up here tomorrow, but I would see that as just making for an easy short. I would love to short anywhere above, say, um, yeah, anywhere above 6,050. That won't be easy because in after hours, because Amazon got smacked down 20 bucks, 9%. S&P's down roughly 35 points in after hours. So you could argue we're now trading in after hours around 67, um, well, roughly 67.60, somewhere down here. But we are oversold on an hourly chart. If I go to a 15-minute chart, actually look at the last candle of the day. It's actually, it does, you know. So despite Amazon, there is the potential that we could be anyway, resistance on this chart would be 68.40s. You have that gap, which, I mean, you could argue we almost tag the gap here. But anyway, whatever we bounce to, if we get a bounce tomorrow, we might not get one, but we probably will. Is arguably a short. Looking at the VIX, I will highlight a daily chart, which I think matters. We're above the 20 threshold. In theory, next resistance is not until around what? 26, 27s, 28s. We could be printing 26 through 28s tomorrow. Um, on the other hand, I would like to be short. I would like to short an index, get the VIX back down to 20 or even 19s briefly. That would be that's my hope. Okay, I'm gonna cover gold and silver at the end, which of course was where the drama was today. We'll start with individual stocks such as Apple. So, yeah, I mean, Apple held up very well considering the main market. Apple was only down 0.2, but you know, if the main market goes down, you can start to wonder maybe if Apple's going to come back down all the way to the 200-day, which never hit. Yeah, but again, good earnings recently. Luxury aviation down 6%. You got to think the April low is going to be taken out. Agnico Eagle, two black candles playing out. Um, the fact that look, on Monday printed 187, which is that high. So now you think, okay, 165 or maybe 150. Remember, the 200 days could be 150. Yeah, bearish. American Eagle down 4%. Bearish engulfing candle. First Majestic Silver. Two black candles played out. We're going down. Next, I would note the October 15s. 15s is 25% down. That's a long way, but looks like we're going to get there. AMD down for a third day, down 3.8%. Red gap is clearly going to fill. Basic target 150/149. The most bearish target right now for AMD would be 120, which is a long way down below. I mean, look, can you imagine if AMD gets to 120? That's cut in half from just like 2 weeks ago. Of course, look, see this like double top, right? 267, 266. I think 150 looks probable, but I would be open to 120 in March. Amazon, 4.5% on the day for sixth day of 7, settling under the 200 day. Printed $200 in after hours. In fact, we're briefly under it, but we're around 200 in after hours. More broadly, I'm bearish to 170, which is near the April 161s. Barrick Mining, which I discovered actually had earnings this morning. They were due in after hours, but maybe they got leaked or something. So actually, yes, they didn't have a black candle, unlike the sector. And look at this. We're under the 50-day. We did not do that in October or November. Bearish. Basic target 36, which is roughly 19% down. Boeing structure is a bear flag. Don't care about Baba. Bitmine down 14% to the 17s. Look, after all this time, we're finally going to fill, well, at least we're probably going to largely fill this red gap that goes all the way back to the 4s. I think we're going to maybe see this go down to at least $10. If Bitcoin is 50,000, which looks probable, then Bitmine's going to be $10 or less. The horror. Some of these I'm just going to skip through. A Kamiko down almost 5%. Maybe we can start thinking about maybe $80, maybe. Don't care about that. Coinbase, look at this. 13% now. It's actually accelerating down. 146. We're going to take out the April low, right? If I change this chart to like a 5-year, it's like, okay, where's the next support? There it is. There, look. Where's the next support? You go under 142. Next support is 114. 114 again. And then that one was a slightly higher high. But yeah, 114. Coinbase is it's almost certainly going to go down to the 114s. Maybe even 100. And look at this. This was 444 last summer. It's basically it's going to get cut down by 75 to 80%. What a nightmare. Moving on, Deckers holding up relative to the main market. Disney just down on the main market. Forgive me if I'm flashing through some of these too quickly, but Freeport at 4%. Now Google's down 5%, but it did rebound as some buyers came in. And yes, this is a hollow red reversal candle from around the 50-day. It does lean bullish for early Friday. Or if we open down on Friday, this does suggest that Google will definitely be positive at least briefly tomorrow. I still hold to my notion now, but now it has broken the 50-day. I think 260, 250 looks realistic in March. So bullish for part of tomorrow, net bearish in the March. Home Depot just low with the main market. Intel chop. JOBY down another 9% roughly. Not pretty, is it? I mean, look, it's clearly got to go into the sevens. And you think sevens or the sixes. And look at the April low, 496. Remember this big volume spike here. That was on the 1 billion capital raise, which is a good thing for the midterm. I like it. But short term, sevens looks pretty easy. JP Morgan just down 2% with the main market. Yeah, KKR, another rough day, down 5%. So we have another gap filled. There is nothing now until the April 85. So it does look like we're going to test the April 85s. That's another 14% down. Yep, we're going down. Does remind me about Owl. So let's put that one in before I forget. Yeah, Blue Owl Capital down 3.6%. News cycle low 11s. This company, the market is starting to price this company as though it's headed for destruction. I don't say that lightly. Meta platforms, a lot of chop, bouncing between 200-day, 50-day. MP Materials just down with the rest of the miners. You got to think actually, yeah, this red gap. I actually think, look, it'd be kind of interesting to think this could maybe eventually fill the big red gap from last July down to $30, which of course is a long way down, right? But if we look at this actually, look at the 200-day. It's got to take it out, isn't it? It's either going to do it tomorrow or Monday. And then when it's down to 30, I like the company for the midterm. Microsoft, oh, look at that. Orange gap filled. Now, next stop is the April 342s. Wow. Micron, actually, Micron held up well. You could argue short-term structures a bull flag. I would say no. On this, considering the main market. Netflix was up 0.9. That's a black candle, $80, on track for 70. Nike down 2.4. It does look that red gap is going to be tagged or filled, and I would be open to the April 51s. Nvidia down 1%. I don't expect the 200-day to hold, in which case 150 basic target. I'll close this down with a sector. We have a couple of gaps from around $40. ONDS, another 12% down. Painful. Painful. This has been almost cut in half already. It's in the eights. You think sixes are coming, 200-day in the sixes. The November low was 495. That looks it looks possible. If the S&P gets to 6100, I like the company a lot. Pan American Silver, two black candles played out, down almost 9%. Soft target, October 42s. That's another $10 down, which is about 19% bearish. Palantir, another 6% down. Look at that black candle marking a short-term earnings high. 130. Soft target 125 is going to be hit either tomorrow or Monday. Broader target $100, probable by early March. Mr. Michael Berry is going to be a very happy bunny about this. Oh my God. I don't know how much money he's going to make. I imagine it's a few million, which for him might be just trivial. PayPal, the The death spiral continues, and in some ways I find that quite amusing. Just down with a main market QuantumScape. Red cap down 10%. It's just main market pressure. Nothing wrong with the company. Keep in mind the last run took it from the 5s to the 18, 19, yeah, 18s. Almost, yeah, tripled up. Tripled up in about what? 2 months. So buying in the, I think probably, what are we looking at here? 7s? Yeah, I guess. Transocean cooling back with the main market. Rocket Lab down 9%, 66s. You're going to think, okay, we've taken out the 73s. Next support is around $50 with the 200 day. So $16 down. SMR down another 8% in 14s. This low isn't going to hold, is it? So now we're looking at the test of the April 11s. Target, bearish engulfing candle, dragged down by the main market. Tesla down 2%, 397. Red gap, this little micro red gap's going to get hit, isn't it? We're not going to hold for 200 day. We're going to come down to, yeah, basic target. Yeah, I said it today actually in a space. 330. So 330. Take two, dragged down by the main market. The videos that I've watched in the last day or two don't bode well. It looks like they've got to workify Grand Theft Auto 6, which will be a shame. Again, look, actually from a broader perspective, look at this. Spikes off for 200 day. Comes down, tries to rally, and then rolls over. Look at the spikes. Look at the spikes at the 50 day. Then it takes out for 200 day, and down we go. United Health down 2.5%. Orange gap fully filled. Next support August 231s. UPS holding up very well. It's had a hell of a run from 103 to 116s. Today's candle is a reversal, leans bullish for Friday. It's overbought. I would see this as a buy on any cooling wave. Maybe it'll come down to the 50 day 104, 106 in early March. Exxon holding up well. Concerns, of course, about Trump and Iran. All right, what next? Let's just jump to Bitcoin and see what that's doing. Bitcoin is currently down 11.5%, 64,000. Look at it on a monthly chart. We're already basically testing this key level. Below this, 49/50. So I think we're going to come down to 50,000. It could even happen this weekend. Under 50,000, there's a little bit of support around 35. Grander support is 20,000. And I accept that's a long way down. To get to 20,000 Bitcoin, I was just thinking about this before I started hitting the record button. To get to 20,000, you're going to need to see the S&P down roughly 20%. So somewhere around maybe, well, just doing the math. What would be 20%? Actually, I'm going to go to a weekly chart. Now, 20% of 7,000 is 1,400. So that would be 5,600, right? That would be there. That would be the 61% fib. Yeah, there. So to get Bitcoin 20,000, which would be ultimate capitulation in my view, you need to see a 61% fib retrace of all of this. And I've not marked them on the chart. In fact, I did, but I removed them. There's a couple of gaps around here, right? And look at this, 5,700s, 56, 56, 56. There's a lot of magnetism at 5,600. But again, first things first, 6,100s, which is the old high from February. Let's just jump back to where it was in terms of Bitcoin. Yeah, 20K. All right, gold, silver. According to stock charts, gold settled down $194, which is 3.9% on the day, to 47.70. Look at price structure. Wave one down, bear flag. This candle offers no sign of a floor. I think support, having already printed 4404, which is basically that high. I think we're going to come down to 4,000, where the 200-day will be in March. So yeah, I think gold's going to print 4,000 in March. You see, also on a weekly chart, give you some perspective. You see momentum's finally started to tick down. That's an exhaustion. That's a short-term exhaustion top. So even though we're only a little bit down for the week so far, you think 4,000, which is what smack in the middle of this pennant. I think 4K. Yep. So I'm thinking 5608 down to 4,000, and then off we go again. Now let's jump to silver. You can't see on here actually, but they were actually, yeah, it doesn't show on this chart. The black candles don't show up on the daily. I'll look at SLV instead briefly. Two black candles. The most notable thing about today, we took out the 50-day, which we did not do in October or November. So this bullish pennant, no, that has to be removed. I'll get rid of that tomorrow. But yeah, we're going down. Next support is 49 for SLV, not silver. 49 for SLV, which of course is another $17 down. That would be an interesting level to floor. Let's go back to the silver chart. Yeah, in terms of silver itself, commodity silver, we're looking at maybe 54s is that threshold there that might want to be tested. Remember, the ultimate threshold, of course, was $50, which was the old breakout threshold. So yeah, I think we're going to come down to 54, maybe 50 on a stretch. But yeah, $16, $17 down. Kind of incredible, right? Silver on a weekly chart. Look at that. Wow. So look, momentum rolled over. Momentum rolled over last week, and will probably turn negative as of next Monday. Yeah, and in theory, we could see this come down to into early March, burn off all these oversold conditions. The issue will be, actually, no, momentum's got to turn negative. But it didn't turn negative here. It leveled out. And same here as well. Look, leveled out there. We haven't had negative momentum on a weekly since May. But yeah, that's leave it alone. Look, bearish engulfing candle last week, failed rally, went over 10 MA, support 54s, which is $16 or so, right? To go. Are we gonna do $16 next week? I mean, maybe. I don't think so, but again, I just see this as a short-term exhaustion top. I think we're gonna level out and off we go again. I'm very much still, I do, to be quite clear, I think we're gonna take that high. think we're going to take it up. It's clearly probably a couple of months away, but yeah, bigger picture. Back test this area and then resume upwards. Anything else? No. Yeah, I mean, look at this. It's prone to net cooling into March. You see the spiky candles, short-term bullish exhaustion. Come down to May 35s, 36. That looks pretty easy for Barrack. But yeah, I think the chart I want to leave you with, I should leave it with this one. Actually, I'll go to the small narrow range one. Yeah, this is the slightly tighter. I think I'll even leave it on that. Yeah, I think I might make that the screenshot for the video. Yeah, that one will do. That one looks pretty good. So we're net low for the week by 140 points, 2%, 67.98. In my view, basic target is the 38% fib in the 6100s, which takes us back to where we were last February. And the more bolder people will be looking at the most bearish case would be maybe a 61% retrace to the 5600s, where there's a couple of gaps, right? There's a lot of price clustering around 56, but of course, you know, let's see how easy it is. Let's see how quickly we can get down to 6100. Do I expect that next week? No, because we're probably going to see a little bounce off the Bollinger here. You see, we've had one. You see a little bounce from there. Then we had a bear flag, right? Little 3-week bear flag, and then bam, and then floor down. You can even see because I was thinking about this yesterday. Look at these candles here. Look at this. Look at that. And then look at this. It's like the market feels tired, just like last January, February. So we're gonna maybe get our first proper red candle, and we should have follow through next week to maybe 6500s, which is a good couple of 100 points down. I think that's doable. Yeah, I think we go down to 6500s next week and then bounce. And the following week is a holiday week. Monday the 14th is closed. I'm just checking my calendar. Actually, OPEX is the 20th. So OPEX is, yeah. No, it's right. Okay, so yeah. If we get down to 6500s next week, bounce a little bit, and you have OPEX week, which is holiday week. OPEX would be what, the 20th? Yeah. And the 16th is closed. Right. And then a couple of weeks out, we should get down to 6100, maybe either last week of February or early March. But yeah, it does appear 7002 is a short-term top. This is based not just on the fact that the market, because you could argue, hey, we're just having a little cooling wave like this. I would suggest anyone who disagrees with me in terms of 6100s, I would say go look at the price action in gold and silver, which has been insane. Bitcoin is clearly imploding. We have concerns about the tech software companies, which is impacting the financials, notably the private equity companies. We have companies posting good earnings, notably AMD, Google, and now we have Amazon also getting smashed despite good earnings. The market is selling into strength, and I was talking about that this morning in my space. We had, if you're looking at the tick for tick price action, every time they tried to rally the market this morning, they kept selling it over and over again. So yeah, I am now net bearish to the 6100s. I'm not short right now, but I'm looking to short on any kind of upside on Friday, any kind of upside. I would like to see the market be up 30, 40 points tomorrow morning, and I would short it. I would hold across into next week, seeking maybe the 6500s or at least 6600. That's 60. That's roughly 200 points down. That would do. There's a trade there. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, I wish you a good Thursday evening, and Friday should be interesting, especially how Amazon earnings, how the market deals with that, and of course the weekend. Who's one of the cases, especially if we do open up, one of my issues will be who wants to hold long into the weekend. So I would have to expect there will be some kind of late day cooling. I would be very surprised if we just go up across the entire day. That wouldn't make any sense at all. So I think we're going to get a bounce at some point tomorrow, but I would definitely look for some kind of late day cooling off, and that probably would carry across into next Monday, which could open ugly. So that's one reason why I would like to be short across the weekend. So yeah, have a good Thursday evening, and an entertaining Friday. Be good.